Hi everybody, thanks for joining us today. My name is Raj. I'm one of the owners and physical therapists here at Pivotal Physiotherapy and ARC by Pivotal. Today's webinar series is called Motivation and Movement. We're very excited to bring you some intelligent content, some healthy counsel, and hopefully some strategies that you can take away and apply in your own life. We've got a few people here joining us today. We are practicing physical distancing, but social connectedness. Right next to me here, or almost next to me here, we have Danielle. She's a strength and conditioning coach at ARC by Pivotal and by Pivotal. Further down the line here, we have Marek. He's a sports psychology and mental performance consultant with our team. To start us off today, Marek is going to cover some ideas on how best to utilize today's webinar in your daily life currently. One of the muscle groups that gets really tight in the prolonged sitting position are the hip flexors. Now going back to the pillar concept with the rib cage, the lower back and abdominals, and the pelvis and hips, the hip flexors are in the lower half of that pillar. Here with Danielle, you can see her sitting down. In this position, the hip flexors are here, running from the front of the lower back area across the front of the hip into the front of the thigh. So you can see that in this position, they're bound to get tight, especially if sitting for a longer duration of time, especially if slouching in that posture. The best way to stretch those hip flexors is dropping down into a half kneel posture, like so. In this posture, you can do this typically with something cushioning this knee so your knee doesn't get sore. You can use a pillow, a cushion, or a towel. The front foot should be positioned such that this knee is at about 90 degrees. This knee should be positioned such that it's directly underneath your hip to start. And the spine and rib cage should be again in a tall, lengthened position. In this position, you may immediately start to feel tension in the front of your hip here or even down into your thigh. If you already feel the tension here, simply hold that posture for a duration of 20 seconds. If you don't quite feel the stretch in the front of your hip and down into your thigh, then you need some progression. The first step of the progression is to activate this glute. So squeeze your right buttock. And when you do that, you may feel some additional tension again right here. This is the target region for the tension. If squeezing the glute again isn't quite enough, the second progression is to take your whole torso and your pelvis and shift forward onto that knee. By this point, you should start to feel a stretch in the front of your hip and down into your thigh. Again, you're going to hold that for about 20 seconds. Now, some of you will be a little bit more limber, and you'll be able to tolerate more of a challenging stretch position. For those that are more advanced, the progression includes putting this back leg up onto a bench or even a couch in your living room, making sure that this foot is comfortable there. Again, the knee is starting in line with the hip. Again, the foot and knee are positioned vertically, one above the other. In this position, again, you're going to squeeze this buttock or this glute, and by this point, you should start to feel some tension in the front of your hip and thigh. If you do not, then again, you can take your entire torso and reach forward, holding again for about 20 seconds. You'll see that Danielle has lengthened her arm up overhead. This is the extremely advanced position. So for those of you that need it or want it and can tolerate it safely, you can reach your arm up overhead and even again get a little bit longer through your thorax and rib cage, reaching up to the ceiling with your skull. The second target tissue in the hip region is the buttock region here. There are muscles in the buttock called your glutes and your piriformis, and they'll often get tight with prolonged sitting. The best way to stretch those muscles in a seated position is starting like this, taking your right heel, reaching it up and across the left knee. You have to make sure in this position that the torso remains again vertically upright and with a proud chest and lengthened spine. In this position, some of you will immediately start to feel tension right here in the buttock area. If you do, it's time to hold that position for 20 seconds. Some of you, again, will be able to tolerate a further range of motion. For those people, you can use your hand, push down onto that knee, offering some counter force on top of the knee. You'll notice that the thigh then went from a higher position to a lower position. Again, some of you now will start to feel that tension in the buttock and piriformis. Again, for those people, you can hold for 20 seconds. For those that still don't quite feel it, stay there, Danielle. For those of you that still don't quite feel the stretch, you can keep your thigh horizontal, but simply bring your sternum forward, leaning forward, and bringing your torso forward as well, and you should start to feel that stretch here now. Perfect, thank you, Danielle. All of those should be held for about 20 seconds. There's a second version of this stretch that's more advanced. You'll need a mat or a floor to lay down on. We'll move this out of our way. In this position, again, we'll stretch the right hip and buttock, keeping your torso flat on the floor, ensuring that your head and neck are supported either with a pillow or comfortably on the floor. The right ankle crosses over that left knee again. And Danielle's going to do version number 1 by pulling left hand and right hand interlaced behind this thigh, pulling this knee forward in this direction. Once she pulls this knee forward in this direction, she should start to feel a stretch in the right buttock and gluteal area. Again, some of you will feel that you can achieve a further range of motion and are ready for more of a challenge. For those people, the left hand stays there, still pulling that left knee forward, but you'll notice the right hand has come here and will offer counterforce, pushing this way. Danielle, how does that feel?
Feels great.
She's feeling a beautiful stretch right here in the right glute and buttock area, again holding for about 20 seconds.